Hello, my loves. I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being here, where we are talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And this video is about how it's all a game to the narcissist, right? And before I get into this, right, because narcissistic abuse is really serious. The impact on our well-being, right? Our quality of life is everything in this world. Yeah, our quality of life, and narcissistic abuse dramatically, right, impairs our quality of life, potentially in most cases, actually, right? And so, although it's a game to a narcissist, it is not a game to us. And I want you to really embody that, because I think when we've been exposed to this types of abuse, I grew up with it, yeah, we become sort of neutral to it. Yeah, it gets normalized to us. In fact, the longer you're in this cycle, the more it just gets normalized to us. And it's not a great way to be treated at all. That's an understatement. Or to live. Yeah. But what's really difficult to get your head round, because narcissists can cause devastating consequences on our health, our well-being, our security, so our finances, our sense of safety in the world. Yeah. Emotionally and physically, is to think of that they don't, right, see it as anything but a game to them. No matter how severely they've hurt you, it's a game to them. It's a game of cat and mouse. And you know it's a game to them because they will play the same game over and over again. If you leave, there'll be another source of supply. There will be lined up sources of supply anyway with a narcissist, and they will play the game again. Yeah, it's a game. They don't learn from their mistakes. They know what they do hurts you. They know it's impactful and potentially devastating to you, and that's why they do it. Hello, trauma bond, right? They can siphon your energy in the psychic realm. The foundation of this relationship is trauma bonding. Yeah, which is a really awful way to become enmeshed with someone, because it's a very, very strong, it's like an addiction. It's stronger than addiction because it's an enmeshment. It's happening physically, mentally, spiritually, and energetically. Addictions to substances only happen emotionally and physically, right? So when you're trauma bonded to someone, you have an extraordinary pull towards them, but for all the wrong reasons, for the worst possible reasons. Because we, subconsciously want the person who causes the pain to take it away. But they don't learn from their mistakes. Yeah? They play the game over and over and over again. Now, I teach people the spiritual aspect of this, right? Which is that narcissism is an entity of consciousness, which just basically means that they're plugged in to an entity of consciousness that we're calling narcissism, which is why they all act in the exact same ways, right? Whether they're covert, overt, malignant, vulnerable, whatever label you want to give them, there are core ways that these people all act. They are abusive, right? They will hoover you. They will love bomb you. Love bombing doesn't have to be a great big gesture. Just where they project what you need from them, that they are the person who you need them to be and want them to be. The illusion, the shared fantasy. Yeah. They devalue, which is the longest part of this relationship dynamic, and they will discard you. Yeah, and there are minor discards. I teach people this all the time. A discard doesn't have to be a final goodbye. A discard includes when they're passive aggressive, when they ignore you, when they just drop you. Yeah, it doesn't mean they're not going to come back necessarily, right? But we, have to take our hearts and our lives really seriously. We're not here to be toyed with. We're not here to be someone's sick game. We're not here to be played with in the way that narcissists will play with us, right? It's not a game of cat and mouse to us. It's our life. And I was talking to someone the other day, and we were talking about emotions, right? So narcissists will often, phrases they'll often use is, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive. They'll try and make you wrong for your emotional response. And I was saying, which I say often to people, our emotions are very, very important, right? Because our entire experience of life is our emotional experience. If I love the rain and I can go out and dance in it, but you hate the rain, right? The rain is not the thing. It's what I experience because of the rain. It's how we experience life is through our emotions. Now, Not all emotions are logical. In fact, most of them are sometimes irrational, seemingly irrational. They're not logical things, right? And not all emotions can be believed, right? Because sometimes we'll have fear-based emotions that will be scaring us a little bit, and it's not necessarily that that's coming from our intuition. For example, intuition is different to fear, but all emotions are messengers. They are messengers for us to pay attention to, right? So I always teach people to look for the message in the emotion. What's it saying to you, right? What do we have? Because, you know, for a lot of us that have been taught to push down our emotions and numb out our emotions, right, we're missing the message. So the emotion will keep coming up. It will keep coming back, right, until it's processed. Now, well, how do you process an emotion? I teach this as well, because trauma cannot be solved on the level of the mind. If you can't out-talk or out-think trauma. It happens body first. It's trapped emotions that have not been processed. And I teach people all the time, we have to process our emotions just like we process food and water. Yeah? Which means that they shouldn't actually linger for too long if they're being fully felt. And it's for us to not feel scared of that. We have to develop safety in our body. I teach people this as well. Energetic safety, so that we can feel safe to feel and experience our emotions. If you've grown up like I did with narcissists, you don't feel safe. I disassociated for years because I wasn't allowed to show any emotion, and so I just disassociated from them. And actually a lot of people can report, and I know I did, like you still feel like you're leaving your body, right, in any kind of traumatic situation, because you just don't want to feel. It's too, and that happens. The disassociation, by the way, is actually a survival mechanism, because sometimes things are too intense for us to feel. We're not ready to feel them yet. But it is important to process the emotions, because they get stuck in our body, and that's when we get sick. Yeah? Emotion is energy in motion. It needs to be in motion. It needs to be released. Yeah? I teach it all the time. Sometimes, you know, emotions are not logical. If you're wound up, go in the car or go for a walk and rant it out. Yeah? Say things that you might not want to say to another human being, right? Because actually, if you process your emotions, then you can actually come back to a regulated nervous system and have much more powerful conversations than when you're highly emotionally charged. Yeah. So the thing is not to ignore them, but not to feel like because you've got an emotion that you want to take it out. Because so many of us want to do that, take it out on someone. In fact, go privately, rant it out, feel it, cry, whatever you need to do, and then have a powerful conversation of, you know, what that emotional message has given you. Yeah, when you're actually in a more regulated state. When emotions are high, intelligence is low. So it's when we're most likely to be irrational. Now, the narcissist, as part of their sick game, love to trigger you. It's all about trauma responses, and a trauma bond and a trauma response is always with an element of shock. The shock, the horror, the devastation, that's how you produce a very high emotional charge, and they're siphoning that energy in the psychic realm. So they want to get you shocked. Yeah, that's why, have you noticed, it goes in a cycle? There'll be a period, which is, again, it's still love bombing, although it might not be a big gesture, where things seem to be going really great. And then, you know, they'll cheat on you, or you'll find something on their phone, or they'll start triggering you again. Yeah, because they want to get you into that shock state, because that's how you get traumatized and trauma bonded to them. Yeah, and how they siphon the energy. So as part of their game, it's all about emotional dysregulation to you. Yeah. And when we're emotionally dysregulated, in fact, what happens is our nervous system gets used to it. So I've had this in my life where, because I was used to the cycle, like my body would, after a few months of things being stable, get very, very anxious, right? Because I was used to a certain amount of time, and then, you know, the narcissist in my life would do something. So it was very, I still have to ground in security, safety, yeah, embody that. Be safe with that, because my nervous system, it got used to chaos, and that was what it considered normal. So security, safety, groundedness, peace wasn't normal to me for much of my life, because of the people I was around, right? So we have to retrain our nervous systems to actually be peaceful and be patient with them. So I do hope you like this video. If you're interested, I do run a program called Sovereign. I've taken the website down just while I'm doing some things, but if you message me, ellie@elliefrost.com, I can tell you all about that. Lots of love, and please keep liking, subscribing and sharing, and I'll speak to you soon.